Raymond.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's as much as it is nice sitting across from you, sitting across from him and his antics and how he behaves, just it makes me laugh. I feel like I'm not as monotone when he's sitting across from me, and I have to laugh at the things that he does. So yes, Raymond, if you're listening, we missed you for the show, just a little bit.
Just a little bit,
just a tiny bit.
We're not going to change the name. We're going to keep your name in. You don't have to worry. Just come back.
Well, we just wanted to mention that if you are looking to buy or sell your home, Danielle, Ray, and I would be happy to help with the Johnson Smith team at Indy Realty. And we'll give our numbers at the end of the show, but we're here to help you. We're here to help you just walk through that process too and determine if you have enough equity to make your financial goals.
You know, and sometimes when the question comes up of what to do, sometimes you feel like you have to Google things on the internet because you can't call someone and ask, but it's okay to call and ask those questions. Whether you're someone who's renting or whether you own a home, whether you just have a random question and you just need some guidance, we can answer those questions. And if we can't, we can point you to someone who can, because we're here to help. We want people to be aware of their options, opportunities, and to be able to really make the most of that.
And not to throw Google under the bus, but Google has no way of determining the person that's putting stuff on the internet is actually an expert, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing this for 31 years. I know I'm a mortgage expert, and I love getting on the phone and answering questions and educating. So I would rather somebody text me or call me, and we just start a conversation, and we're going to figure out the process and come up with a plan. You can go down a lot of rabbit holes searching the word mortgage on the internet, and there's a lot of not great information out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder sometimes when we look at all of the AI that everyone's using and how you can create articles and have them write them for you, and it's like, I hope my doctor never does that. I hope my doctor doesn't start going to AI and going, okay, what can we do with this girl here? What should I recommend next? It's nice to have a real person.
People don't always read through those. They just say, hey, write me something, and then they post it.
Yeah.
You never know what you're finding.
Yeah. Well, we do have an industry expert here who's been doing this for a long time. And Danielle, Raymond, and I trust our clients in your care, John. I mean, we really do. We know they're going to get excellent service. We know they're going to get fair pricing, and that you're going to look at all the options for them.
I'm a little blunt sometimes, but I don't believe in sugarcoating. I just like letting people know where they're at and getting it done. But I enjoy taking care of your clients, and I enjoy taking care of all of my clients. It's an education process for me. I don't tell people what they're going to do or how they're going to do it. These are the options. This is where you're at. If you pay down this credit card, your score will go up this much, and this is where it'll be at. And go come up with a plan that helps them buy the house that they can afford at the time.
And you make a good point. I'm going to go back to that. Paying down a card to bump your score. That's not always the right answer. The one that you think is the right answer is not always going to be the best result. And that's why you need to call John, because you really have seen, I'm sure, thousands of credit scores and worked with thousands of clients and helped them through that process.
What's scary is that just as I think I've seen everything that I can possibly come up with, something crazy comes out of the woodwork, and I again have to think up a new solution. And I mean, that recently happened in the last couple months. And but the good thing is, with all of the years of experience and background and all the contacts that I have, if something comes up that I'm not sure what to do with, I have resources, people to call, people to send emails to. Hey, have you seen this before? Have you dealt with this? What's the best way to deal with it? And that's, I think, where experience really comes into play in a situation like this, is having all of those resources available to me.
I had a client that I recently sent to John who felt like there was absolutely no option. Like they were up against a wall. And after meeting with John, we're able to come back and say, okay, I got 4 options. And I have information on all 4 options, and now I can make the decision to move forward in one of these 4. And I think that's where the real power is when you know what your options are and you can make an informed decision, then you can go out and do what's going to be best for you in the end. If you're just trying to come up with what Google says, You might find one, but that doesn't mean it's your best option.
I mean, if I need brain surgery, I'm not searching Google on brain surgery and going to get a drill and doing it myself. Just as an example, but I know which client you're talking about, and what's really great about that is, I mean, it was a 30-minute conversation and about 2 hours worth of work on my end, and within another day, we had solutions that made sense.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I will say that I know that the client, she is feeling so much better at this point, just knowing the options and knowing that it's going to be okay and that everything is going to get worked out and that there's power in the choice.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, the unknown is what's scary. And that's the other thing. I don't care if it's good news, bad news, or indifferent. I'm going to deliver whatever the news is, because once we know, then we can come up with a plan and fix it. In my office, I tell all the staff, I go, we don't have problems, we only have solutions. So don't come to me and tell me you have a problem. Come to me and say, I have a solution for this situation. What do you think? And that's how we function. I don't believe in problems. I believe in coming up with solutions.
Another thing that I'm seeing a lot of, especially on Facebook in moms groups, talking about what's available right now for rent. I'm currently paying $1,800 a month in rent. I've got, a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, whatever it is. I can't stay here because there are these long lists of problems. This is not working for my family. I have to get out. Do you know what's available? And the options for renting are not that great. I mean, again, the rental prices are high. So if someone is sitting there in about an $1,800 a month payment, what can they do in terms of getting financed and getting a mortgage and owning their own home? So
it's a loaded question, as you know, because the type of property, is it manufactured or a condo or a house, and how much do you have for down payment, and are we doing FHA or conventional? But you're going to be in a range from $250,000 to $300,000. On the $300,000 end, you're going to need 10% down, and you're going to need to have good credit, 700 scores or better. If you're down in the 250 range, it's probably going to be the 1% down program with it that we have with the grant funds, and you're probably going to be looking at something that doesn't have a large HOA payment, so on and so forth.
Yeah, those HOA payments actually have to be calculated into your expenses. So even though your house payment maybe, I'll just throw $1,000 out there, if there's a $200 HOA payment, that's going to be calculated as well.
Yeah, but I deal with a lot of people that want their payment in that $1,800 to $2,000 range. That's probably been 90% of who I've dealt with this year, as far as the common buyer. And there's plenty of properties out there. There's nice properties. I've done a lot of these transactions, and that 250 to 300 seems to be where we're at for that.
Well, and that, we just had that townhome that was under 250, and there are things that are available. That was a 3-bed, 2-bath. If you're in a 3-bed, 2-bath apartment, it's going to be similar. It's not like you're going from 3-bed to 1. There are lots of options. And even if you did go from a 3 to a 2, it's something to consider. You're investing in your future. This isn't your forever home, but it can be something that can really push you further in life in the next few years.
And one of the things I talk to people that are renting, and they're like, oh, I can't afford to buy. Well, most places that you rent from require 3 or 4 times the rent for income. We're going to need probably 2.5 times, maybe 3, when you're looking at from a mortgage qualifying standpoint. You're looking at first and last month's rent most of the time in some sort of security deposit, and we all have pets, and they love to charge a $500 deposit for pet. So you have somewhere around $3,600 to $5,000 you have to come up with to rent a house, and you start adding this all up, and it's the same as if you go and buy a house. If you have the $4,000 or $5,000 for your first and last month's rent and your security deposit and your pet deposit, and you have the credit score to rent this place, and you have 3 to 4 times the monthly income of the rent, you just qualified for a house. All you were doing was qualifying to rent a place. And I don't mean to make it that simple, but it really is that simple.
Well, and sometimes there are qualifiers that can make it harder to rent an apartment than it is to actually buy a home. There are certain things that are just different. And so that's something to really keep in mind too. Sometimes when you're unsure, the best thing to do is just to ask the questions and see what you can do.
I tell you, for two of my daughters, it was just easier for myself and them to go out and help them buy a house. Renting an apartment was such a hassle.
Right.
It was easier for us to just, all right, we're going to go buy a house for you. And while they were still going to school and still in college.
John, tell everybody how to get a hold of you again.
They can reach me on my cell phone at 520-247-3610, or they can go to our website at inspiredlifemortgage.com.
And we have other sponsors that have helped us bring the show to you each week. Of course, Inspired Life Mortgage, Rego Pest Prevention, Indy Realty, Solar Power. If you're thinking about solar, we've had Yamina on the show a couple of times, and she's got some great options. They can even wrap in the cost of a roof onto that loan. And who am I forgetting? Pioneer Title. Pioneer Title was here talking about fraud. Another great company, and we just appreciate their continued support. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, Danielle, Ray, and I would be happy to help you. You can reach Danielle at 520-373-6864, myself at 520-850-1725, or the infamous Raymond Smith, 520-904-7711.
And remember, we do free home valuation, so if you'd like one, just give us a call and we'll hook you up.
You can also reach us at Johnson Smith at indie-realty.com. We'll see you next week.